We can talk for hours about ChatGPT alone, all right? Because now it seemed to be for me a repetitive topic with all my guests. Because guess what? We're all trying to situate ourselves, right? Is it really changing the world, putting it upside down? Is it a good tool? Is it something we need to put stop on? Which I'm not a proponent of. So, anyways, what's your take? I promise we're gonna move forward from ChatGPT, but just kind of what's your observation? How do you process all this, content information about it?
Yeah, of course. I think it's really interesting. We've seen some heavyweights in the industry, the likes of Bill Gates, come out and say this is the biggest technological revolution of all time, and technically, potentially it is. And for me, the reason behind it is more about the adoption as opposed to the technology. Okay, the fact that it was adopted by so many users in such a short space of time is amazing. But with that comes risks that we need to mitigate. Okay, there are biases built into ChatGPT that people able to bring to the forefront. We've also seen ChatGPT being used to hack forms of encryption. So I think it's the same as any tool. When used in the right hands, it can be absolutely amazing. When put into potentially the wrong hands, it can also be catastrophic. Now we're probably at a point within our society where we might not be ready for this type of technology at the scale that it's at the moment. But with that comes something that's been needed in particularly in the AI space and data as well for quite a significant amount of time, which is rules, regulations, and counters to the biases that we're seeing within these data sets as well. So hopefully this can be this can bring them to the forefront more quickly as well. But to kind of summarize that, I think it's a fantastic time to be in the data space and to be in the AI space because we're only going to the sky's the limit as far as this is concerned.
Yep, good times we live in. Yeah. So some of the mature, responsible leaders, all right? So let's go back to the strategies, all right? Because I hear data and AI strategy should support business strategy. It's not a silver bullet to solve all the problems in one. So what's your take on it? Yeah, where to start? And most companies have this data strategy in place by now, I hope, right? But still, what kind of fine tuning they need to be thinking about?
Yes, indeed. And what I tend to find, especially when working with clients in this space, is that, like you say, organizations do have strategies in play that they're currently working towards. And some of those strategies have been delivered by some of the industry leading consultancies as well, right? But with this being the case, what I tend to find is that those strategies are not being executed. Now, there's plenty of reasons in behind this. Sometimes it's the case that they go through the strategy process and they're given a big 200-page, 300-page document to then go away and put into practice, which never happens. And there's other reasons which, like you mentioned, it's from my article, it's just that the data strategy doesn't align with the business goals. So there's no value to deliver this strategy outside of those that are consuming the data. Now, generally in my approach is I tend to liaise directly with key stakeholders across all of the verticals within an organization, from the executive level to and downwards, to understand, as you mentioned, what's really driving the business. Is it growth? Is it revenue generation? Is it new revenue streams, etc.? And then align with how they can start to utilize their existing data structures, whether it's reporting, forecasting, being more predictive, to start to make these data projects feed into that business value. Data is such a huge commodity at the moment. It's I've heard a saying before that data is the new oil, right? And a friend of mine and colleague Sean Helwig uses this anecdote quite well, and it's stuck with me. It's something that's resonated with me. Is that data is a new oil. That's fantastic. But if you had an oil spill in your garden and you didn't know what to do with it, and you had oil that was coming out and gushing everywhere, you wouldn't be looking to cash in on that because you would have no idea. It would be more of a nuisance for you in your garden than it would be something that's going to bring you delight and revenue. And that's the way that we look at these types of organizations that have data everywhere and they want to use the latest technologies is really, okay, let's refine that, let's take this back, let's align with the structure. So maybe put in place ways to cap that oil spill, structure an oil rig around it, and then be able to start to pull out that oil and refine it and sell it from there. And that's a good way in my mind to look at a data strategy.